Hey everybody, this is Schmitt again from Chromatic Music. I'm just going to show you a couple of things. I can't get rid of my cat, unfortunately, so you're going to have to just put up with her because I have to put up with her, so anyways. But anyways, what I'm going to do is just kind of show you guys a couple of things that you can do on piano if you want to get started into it. This is kind of, I'm not really going to show you chords and scales and all that kind of stuff or explain any kind of music theory, because I look at it like this. If you're going to learn how to speak a language, you got to learn how to speak it before you can read or write it, you know. So I just figured, why don't you just go ahead and learn how to play something that sounds good, that you can kind of sit down, even maybe with a girl or something, maybe that's your intention, and forget all the other nonsense. That's what I originally started for. Anyways, here's kind of what we want to do. I'm just going to show you just a very, very simple technique with just 4 fingers, just your pinky and your thumb, and your pinky from your left and right hand. All you're going to do is just kind of rotate them. You're just going to do this kind of like just wave action here. And what it is just going to be a pinky, thumb, thumb, pinky. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a very, very simple thing. And what you're doing is you're playing all the same keys. Every key is exactly the same. So I got to point this thing down at the fretboard. I told you she was going to do that. And she's probably just going to jump right back up anyway. So anyways, I'm going to face this towards the piano. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick all similar keys. Okay? Every key needs to look exactly the same, so you don't even have to know anything about the keyboard other than shapes. So hopefully I don't have to explain this. So what we're going to do is just find this shape right here. And what we're going to do is this one is just, there's 2, then there's 3, then there's 2, then there's 3, and so on and so forth. So just basically put your pinky, okay, on a lower key right here. So it's like the first of the 2 keys. And then what you're going to do is also try to put your thumb on the next one. So you're basically just, you know, if you played every single one of them, you'd be playing. If you know what that note is, great. If you don't, it's a C sharp or a D flat, whatever you want to call it. But basically what we're going to do is just kind of like, if I take these hands away, all we're doing is just playing. That's it. Those are octaves in that scale. Okay? No matter what you did, if you just kind of picked up and played another 2, those are also the same 2 notes, just an octave apart. Okay? So that's kind of the idea. But what we're going to do is if you just find these notes right here, okay, and then you take your right hand, put your thumb on the lower one, and then your right hand on this. So all the notes are all on C sharp. The idea behind this is just to basically roll. So you start all the way at the very lowest note, and then you go to the next note, and then the next note. You just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. And just keep them sustained for right now. And it's a very simple technique. There's nothing much to it. You just kind of just get it faster. And if you want it to sound more staccato, staccato just means separated. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the difference between staccato and legato. But this would be legato. This would be staccato. Okay, and they have different feels. If you want it to sound really clean and really fast, staccato is usually the way to go. But you can have it sound really pretty and ethereal and stuff like that if you actually hold down the sustain pedal, if you got one, or if you're playing a real grand piano, go ahead and hold the sustain pedal. It's the far right pedal, and you just basically do this. So even if your hands are lifted up, they still continue to play. So this is kind of a mysterious kind of a sound, depending on what you play next to it. If you play the very next key, the next black key over here, it works the same. So you can really play any of the black keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you just kind of roll up and down, you can kind of do something like this. It sounds really pretty and it sounds really complicated because it's really big. You know, it's one of those instruments. Guitar is harder to do that with, but piano is one of those instruments where you can play the lowest and the highest note real easy because you got that huge spread of your arms. Okay? So basically what you can do is if you actually integrate this with some kind of a key, the easiest way is to just stay on all the white keys. Nothing you do, if you play something, I mean, you can screw it up a little bit, but I mean, for the most part, you can kind of play anything you want and it'll really just kind of sound okay because they're all in the same key. So what I would suggest is actually start with, okay, the A notes. Okay, and the A notes right here are basically just to the left, okay, of the 1, 2, 3 black keys. Just to the left of that is going to be your A key. So if you can find the A's over here as well, then you can play those. They sound really cool. The nice thing is, if you just go to the very next white key, which is the B note, you can kind of get that roll going. And then you can do the next white key. And it's just walking up a scale. I mean, it's literally just doing this. That's all we're going to be doing, but we're just going to keep all the fingers on just those notes. So it's just A, or B, 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 C, D, E, F, G, back to A. And what you can do is you can keep playing it and do something like this. It's kind of a cool build, like an orchestra doing something in a movie where it's about to build into something big. Now you can also put your hands a little closer together and like play an A and a C together, and then you can like build kind of a chord. Keep your finger on A on your left hand, and then just move your right hand to D. Move it down to B, and then back to C. And you can move the whole thing over. You see that pretty much any of the white keys I move to. You're going to want to let go of the sustain pedal, you know, every now and again, stuff like that, so it's not so bad. But for the most part, look what we can do with this, just simple pattern. If you get that 1, 2, 3, 4, you can make really pretty melodies with this. This is really the same thing over and over again. Now you can play that if you know different scales and different keys. You can play something much more complicated. And another thing that's really cool is if you can actually put the thumbs. Now this is a little weird because you're going to have to share the same key, which is hard. You can't play it at the same time, but what you do is if you roll on the A's, instead of keeping them an octave apart like up here, what you do is throw this thumb right on top of this key, and then you can kind of do this. So what you do is you kind of use your thumb, get it out of the way, and I usually just kind of brush the key. Instead of trying to push down on it and lift up, I kind of push down and slide it off, so that way this finger doesn't hit. So it's kind of like, it's almost like it's walking. So you just kind of play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can kind of hit the same key over and over again. The cool part is if you walk up the scale just at each note, now they're all in B, all in C, D. That repeated note sounds really cool. It sounds like a delay, but watch what it sounds like really quick. And then you can do that for scales. And I haven't played a single chord yet. I mean, these are all exactly the same notes. If you get kind of a groove going with it, you can do... That's that. Hope you enjoyed this, and always remember, gangsta son!